We are here today, settled just outside of Victoria Harbour, sitting with some great friends that I haven't caught up with quite a while. Mr. Brad Hilliker and Michelle Guy, welcome to the show.
Welcome in. Welcome to Washington.
Glad to be here. Truly an honor. It has, like I said, it has been a while. So, before we get rolling too far into it, I know, Brad, we talked a little bit about your history as far as where you come from and your musical taste, and I got a little bit of hint as to yours, but these are two different worlds. How in the heck did all this sort of come together as being a duo and as well as a personal relationship as well?
How indeed.
Yeah.
Deep question. Brad?
I moved up from Toronto. I was working with some pretty heavy rock bands in Toronto for about 12, 15 years. And I was fortunate enough to, at the time, this is back in the late 80s, early 90s, and the music scene was very vibrant at the time. And we got to play original music and play all the top-notch clubs and actually make some money at it. And from there, I just kind of got tired of the whole Toronto scene, and it became a bit much, and it wore me out a little bit. But I just wanted to loosen the load some, so I moved up to Barrie, and I met Michelle while I was working with CAVE, the Center for the Advancement of Video Excellence.
I think that's where we met originally, I believe.
That is it, yeah.
Yes.
And Michelle was working there at 80 Bradford, and we met and we hooked up. We passed each other a couple CDs of our music, and it just took off from there, and it flowered, and it became a beautiful thing.
Cool.
Wow, very different backgrounds. I was in Scarborough, Toronto, and I tried writing original music, and people told me it was crap. So
what are friends for?
Yeah. So I stopped, and you know, the music industry just wasn't having this black woman write kind of more like country, kind of bluesy, but not R&B. So I thought, I guess I'm supposed to sing jazz. So in late 90s, I started to get together with different bands, and originally they were cover bands, and you know, I wanted to sing Melissa Etheridge and Sash Jordan, and they kept asking me if I could sing Aretha Franklin and Patti LaBelle. So I thought, no, I guess I just got to go join a jazz band and create a jazz band. So I started in Toronto trying to get that jazz trio stuff, crabs in a bucket situation there. So the marketer in me said, well, let's find venues that don't have live music and convince them to put us on. So it was old school, money at the door, market. If people don't show up, you don't get paid kind of thing. But I cut my teeth on that. And then when I got sick of kind of, you know, the rat race and not being me, I decided my brother had moved up here, so I decided to kind of move up with Barrie. I moved up with a friend. We purchased a house. He lived in one section, I lived in the other, and I thought, well, I was still kind of doing that jazz stuff, but then I started to write again. And once out of the Toronto scene, up here, I started to do little live music showcases, and where you only did a couple of your original songs kind of thing, so it wasn't that pressure to fill a set. And people started to like them, so I still continued to do the cover thing, but then I found people that understood that I sing heavy pop, I sing a little blues, I sing rock and roll. That's what I do. Instead of joining people's bands, I started to create my own smash up.
Yep.
And Brad and I didn't start working together right away when we met because our musical differences were way out there. But, you know, all of a sudden I'd get a gig and I could pay a trio. So he'd come along and it started to work itself out. His heavy session came in with my kind of, you know, lighter rock and roll pop side, and it became what it became. And then our writing also worked. Like, he would be tinkering. It's interesting living with somebody that you do musical work with, because he'd be tinkering on the guitar and what's that? And then together, sometimes I'd write the lyrics, sometimes he'd be singing something and I'd have well, it sounds like this to me. And no, you sing it then. So it really did evolve.
Yeah, good.
Accidentally. Like, was none of this was actually planned?
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I was going to say, because of the clash, well, not necessarily clash, but
clash, yeah.
coming from punk to
Right.
your background being much different.
Yeah.
Was it an easy transition at first to kind of combine
I've always
the two?
had an appreciation for the blues.
Yeah.
I've always really dug the blues, so as a guitarist, sort of jazzy and blues side, I was always very interested in, but didn't experiment much with my background, because I always played in either punk band or heavy rock bands. And so with Michelle's influence, it kind of sort of just geared me over towards a different way of thinking about what I did. So even with some of the blues songs that we've written together, it still has that little bit of an element of my taste and flavor in the background. I've always I've made it a point to kind of just stay away from your traditional 12-bar 1-4-5 blues and create something different around that. It evolved to where we are now, and it really works well.
Yeah.
Cool.
That old guitar still hangs on my wall. After all, it ought to count for something. After all, it doesn't play so bittersweet. Better days, but sometimes it still seems it's been there for so long. But oh, with less time invested, how foolish of me that I could have missed a better part of me. Rusted strings and broken parts, you came along and played the missing part. After all, hear that tune, the irony, so strange, just how much you mean to me. You are my favorite song, but oh, with less time invested, how foolish of me that I could have missed a better part of me. But oh, with less time invested, how foolish of me that I would have missed a better part of me, a better part of me, a better part of me. We do a lot of, our shows. They're primarily cover shows. And when Brad's on the electric guitar and I'm singing and I play my basic bass, you really do, I can tell people are, what is that? Because even when we do a 12-bar blues song, like Brad has some crunch, some attack on that guitar, there's some bite on that guitar. And I have my straight walking bass line, and then I have my voice, which is, it's powerful, but it's smoother. And it's even when we're doing cover songs, people do compliment us, and they comment on the fact that it sounds like you.
It's a nice hybrid.
It just sounds
Yeah.
like you. It doesn't sound like the cover.
And it comes naturally.
It comes naturally.
Yeah,
Like
that's good.
I've not gotten jobs in the past when I've gone to play at bars where you sing really good, but you don't sound exactly like the. I was like, okay, well, this is not a match. So where we play now, those, and we have a little bit of a following. They come out to hear that crazy clash that happens to work, right? And it's been challenging over time finding the drummer to fit in. Like we've had the pleasure of working with some great folks, but to find somebody that sits in the middle of this nonsense has been a work in progress. But we've been lucky enough that we found some people.
Good.
So yeah.
A lot of people really, really enjoy us putting our own bent on the cover tunes that we do. You know, we follow it, kind of along to a T to a certain point, and then we add our own little thing, and that's why we're called the Feeling Good Band.
Yeah.
We give our own little twist on it, and people really enjoy that. They like listening to something they know, but with that little extra bit of flavor on it. And that's what I find a lot of artists are doing nowadays, covering each other's material.
Yes.
They're not doing it exactly the same way that the original artist did it. They're putting their own twist on it to give it some new flavor.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you find moving up, getting out of the city, both of you, and you're coming from the city, it's from Toronto, and both you living in Barrie, do you find moving away from all that gives you a whole new perspective on writing? I mean, you're surrounded with birds and nature. Have you kind of got away from that and gone to more of a natural vibe, I guess?
I'm going to say that, I mentioned when I started writing in Toronto, people were like, well, it's not good. It's crap. That's probably because it was. Because I was trying to make myself fit a mold. And when I moved up to Barrie, and I just said, just write. Not every song was good, but I would say that made that huge change. People started to, because I was writing genuinely, and I was putting the chords together how I felt the chords should be put together. Like I could get up in the middle of the night and have something in my head, and I'd write it down, because by the time I wake up in the morning, it will be gone, and I'd rudimentally write down the chords. I had a roommate come home one time at 3 o'clock, and what are you doing? I was like, I got a song in my head. And that's what happened when I moved up to Barrie, is that started to happen. And slowly we started to get that, I started to get that original stuff. And then I met Brad, and his original stuff didn't sound like my original stuff. But somehow, you tinker with it long enough, you find that middle. Yeah, so I don't know that I would actually have had anywhere near the amount of musical experience that I have now if I had stayed in Toronto.
And I, as soon as I learned 3 chords on the guitar, I started writing my own music. I started writing poetry when I was about 13. And when I started learning guitar, I just wanted to put my poetry to music. And when I lived in Toronto, I was fortunate enough to get in with some really excellent people in the theater and film community. And I did a lot of writing on 4-track, the Tascam 4-track,
Yeah.
for some short films and theater. And I've worked with Governor General Award winners. And so I really got to, experience firsthand writing for someone else. So, this is the feel we're trying to create. What can you bring to that, right? Instead of just writing for myself. And that opened up my horizons just immensely.
This song is called A New Day. I wrote it last year, and it was born out of all the anti-Black racism that was in the news media. And here we are. Storm, forlorn for too long, keep pushing on. We're gonna rise up, we're gonna rise up, we're gonna rise up till a new day is born. Know me, see me clearly. I don't walk alone, I'm 400 years strong. Holding on, moving on, still pushing on. We're gonna rise up. We're gonna rise up. We're gonna rise up till a new day is born. Yeah, we're gonna rise up. We're gonna rise up. We're gonna rise up till a new day is born. Mothers cry, their fathers cry, their children die. We're gonna pick them up and carry them home. We're gonna rise up. We're gonna rise up. Yeah, we're gonna rise up till a new day is born. Yeah, we're gonna rise up. We're gonna rise up. We're gonna rise up till a new day is born. Rise up. Rise up. Rise up. Rise up.
I noticed too that on some of you're both artists obviously, but some of your video work is included with your songs. It's been very nature oriented.
That's all
Brad.
That's all Brad.
Yeah.
It would not look like that if I did it, my friend. No, all Brad.
Yeah, no, I find very interesting because you keep especially some of your more chill stuff. You're using your surroundings quite a bit. Yeah. Do you enjoy doing the video side of it, or more of the music side of it, or both?
Both. You know, it comes as an inspiration from the song that we create, and then I'll just sort of get a flash in the pan idea and go, oh, you know, it doesn't have to exactly follow what we're saying lyrically, but more just creates, you know, an environment that somebody can sit in while they're watching it and feel the music in a different way, and just add that little bit of color and flavor into it.
Cool. Is the Feeling Good band still? Are you guys still going, or is it the drummer scenario?
That would be depending on COVID. Right now, we're working with Shannon Lawrence when we can.
Okay.
And we have maybe one thing set up for this year.
Good.
Right? It's all dependent upon COVID. I've got some solo shows set up, and when I do the solo shows, I always weave in a couple of original songs, and sometimes, depending on the crowd, I announce it. Sometimes I just, maybe they won't know. But it's interesting to do it because people will come up to me afterwards and say, that song, that second to last song you sung, who did that? But I was like, it's an original song. You should sing more of that. So you've got bar owners and restaurant owners, love you bar owners and restaurant owners, but you've got them saying one thing, but then your clientele is catching this new stuff.
Yeah.
And they want to hear more of it.
I was going to ask you that, because how do you, and you obviously want to get your own material out there, but with the bar owner saying, well, we'd rather hear this, do you find it kind of awkward at times to judge the balance of the two? Or have you been confronted by a bar owner going, hey, you didn't play enough covers?
Not yet.
No, we sort of sneak in the stuff, our originals, with similar stuff that we do as our covers. So we do a lot of blues and, you know, some pop and stuff, and so we'll just sort of sneak in, you know, one of our kind of bluesy tunes with what we do. So we'll do, like, you know, Tracy Chapman, Give Me One Good Reason, and then we'll just sneak in a little, you know, similar blues song that we've written. And people groove to it because it's in the same vein, but they're like, oh, what's that, right?
And in the two-piece, it's a lot easier. We spatter a lot more originals when we do our dual work as the station, right? And people never have an issue. As I said, they'll come up on break and want to know who did that. We're having a debate. We can't, you know, if they're there with somebody. So in the duo, it's a lot easier, and we do more. We do a lot more because we already know it. So we can just kind of, it feels good. Yeah, crowd looks good. Let's do a couple of originals.
Nice.
So yeah, we sneak it in there. I'd really like to, like this time of COVID has kind of got my head straight as to, you know, we survived a year and I didn't gig Thursday, Friday, twice on the weekend, and I decided that I don't love that. I don't love that. So kind of one of my goals is to get into the magic box there, that Google, and try to get more of our original music out that way, with Brad's fantastic videos behind it, or just sitting outside. We had this great plan. We were going to sit outside this year every weekend and just kind of do a live off the floor and just do it. And caterpillars happened, so we haven't done that yet. But so that's where we're kind of going to try to go with the original music, is get it in that box. Do showcases from our living room where we're just going to do I did one of those actually, where I just did half an hour of my acoustic stuff. That's what I did.
Nice.
Right? And I made money online. So last year I did my first show online and invited virtual tips, and apparently it's a thing and it works.
If there was anything good to have come out of COVID, it's the fact that we've been able to use the technology that already existed, but take it a little step further. So a lot of the online shows that we've seen, and a lot of artists having no other option but to do online music, it's really opened up the technology at our fingertips, and it's made it a little more commonplace now.
Yeah. And
I think we'll see a lot more of it.
We are. People are. It's trained people that I don't have any live music I can go see, so that's where I go. That's where I go. And I mean, I've sat on for live shows and done my virtual tipping, because if I expect it, I'm going to get. And not only that, but the show was good, so I tipped.
It's truly been a savior, really, for the last
It has
year.
been.
So there's no doubt about that.
This next song is called How's That Working Out? It was written out of annoyance with people. You all know someone like this. Enjoy. There's a perfect picture window, and it used to look like you. Now you found your favorite poison, and you're living in a cube. I want to know, is that you thinking about tomorrow? Another day up on that treadmill, practicing those lines. You want that needle in that haystack, and it's messing with your mind. I want to know, is that you thinking about tomorrow? I want to know, how's that working out today? Now you're running up that mountain, frozen to the bone, looking for your memory, trying to find that gold. Now you're running up that mountain, frozen to the bone, looking for your memory, trying to find your soul. Time to hurry when your life is just a crime. Time to lock away that freedom. It's time to take a ride. I want to know, is that you thinking about tomorrow? Now there's no toys in the playground, and there's no one left to play, building castles in the sandbox, alone in the rain. Is that you thinking about tomorrow? I wanna know, how's that working out today? Now you're running up that mountain, frozen to the bone, looking for your memory, trying to find that gold. Now you're running up that mountain, to the bone, looking for your memory, trying to find your soul. to thinking about tomorrow. I wanna know, how's that working out today? How's that working out? How's that working out? How's that working out today? Hey man. Nice job.
Do you guys ever have speaking of covers earlier, do you have any issues with choosing which ones you like to do rather, or do you get into, is it pretty easy to pick them?
Yeah, because I think the
whatever
crowd,
works?
yeah. As Brad says, what we're playing, we fit it into what we're playing, so we're not giving ear shock to people to have just heard something, and we judge the crowd, and that dictates a
And
lot.
we do a lot of stuff that people know. So, people like to hear stuff they know, and they, go out and have a good time. And, a lot of places, when dancing was, still
Back
an
in the
option.
olden days.
Yeah.
We make sure that we work in some stuff that's danceable and party fun and all that. But we also like to keep it sort of more, not necessarily B-sides, but stuff that you don't hear a lot of other cover bands play, right? So
Very true.
we got a few gems in our pocket that raise some eyebrows, and people, that's really cool. So we could go from, honestly, we do everything from Patsy Cline to REM.
Oh, well, that's pretty diverse.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
And because we don't sound like the original, it's easier to plug in our originals because you're not hearing the songs exactly like the band anyway. So we've already got your ears realigned.
They're just
to
picking up
that,
the lyrics. And,
right?
Yeah.
And then so when we do one of our songs, they just figure it's a song, they don't know it, right? But they like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
cool.
I think one of the best compliments that I've had with our original music, we did, the restaurant's closed now, but we were on this tiny little patio and I couldn't even play bass. And Brad just did guitar because, as a two-piece, you go where the money is. And I was tapping my foot with the tambourine. Anyway, we did an original song and a lady liked it so much, she came up and asked us if we would play it again. So we played it again in the next
Nice.
set.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you very much
Thanks, Sam.
for being on the show today. I greatly appreciate it, and I look forward to some more new stuff coming down the pipe from you guys.
Thanks for
Right.
having us for the opportunity.
You're very, very welcome. We'll catch up again soon.
Okay, thanks,
Cheers.
Sam.
Thanks again.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. Cheers.